Hello, I'm Zoe Brandt. I'm Head of Marketing here at Aardvark Accounting, and I'm joined today by Louisa Drewett, who's our Client Director at Aardvark, and is going to be answering some questions about IR35 and what's coming down the line for us come April 2021. So Louisa, what is changing with IR35 in April 2021?
So from April 2021, the private sector is now going to be aligned with the public sector rules that came in from 2017. So essentially what that means is that the end client or the fee payer will now determine the contractor status on their behalf.
Okay, so on the flip side then, what isn't changing?
So the actual rules around how you determine the contract or the working conditions, nothing is changing. So the same factors that were there beforehand will still be there going forwards. Also, if you're already in the public sector, nothing is changing because that's already in place and they're already determining your status for you. Or if you're working for a small company, again, nothing's changing.
Okay, so if the rules themselves aren't changing, what do contractors actually have to worry about?
The problem is that what we saw beforehand with the public sector changes, or when it was originally coming in from April 2020, is a lot of the end clients are quite nervous. So it tends to mean that they either completely ban limited company contractors altogether, or they're doing blanket assessments where they're just putting everyone inside of IR35 and they're not actually taking any reasonable care to look at people on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, so we don't want blanket bans, obviously, so what should the clients be considering when they make an IR35
What they should be doing is they should actually be taking reasonable care to go through each of the main factors, one by one, for each of their contractors to see whether they are genuinely inside or outside of IR35.
Okay, so what are the main factors?
So the three main factors, of which you've got to have one of in order to point outside of IR35, are either a lack of control, i.e. you determine how you provide your services, or where or when. Also then a lack of personal service, so whether it doesn't matter if it's you that goes to do the actual job or someone else on your behalf, the idea is that the services are still done by whoever it is that you send. The last one is a lack of obligations between the parties, so i.e. there is no requirement for the end client to offer you work and you're not obliged to accept it, and vice versa. As long as you've got one of those three, that will then help point away and outside of IR35.
Okay, so that sounds pretty straightforward, although private sector clients and end hirers have never had to go through that process before. Is there any help that the HMRC are offering them?
Yeah, so HMRC have created an online CEST tool, which stands for Check Employment Status Tax. What it enables you to do is either you as the worker or the end client can then go through and determine your status. The problem is that there's a number of kind of questions which are fairly sort of basic and not very subjective. So it can mean that the determination can be skewed if it's not actually sort of looked at in detail.
Okay, so it's a yes/no answer kind of online.
Yeah, it's fairly binary, and the problem is IR35 is very subjective and also very complex. It's not just a case of looking at a yes/no answer, and what you need to do is you need to kind of look at a more holistic approach with all the working conditions and seeing then whether that sort of points away from employment and therefore outside of IR35.
Okay, so you could be in a situation whereby your client has used the CEST tool but still comes out with a determination that you disagree with. So maybe they're putting you inside IR35 where you believe that you're outside IR35.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if I'm a contractor and I disagree with the determination that my client has come back to me with, what can I do about it?
So you can appeal it. There's a number of things that I probably suggest that you do first. So first of all, you want to approach them and ask for the status determination sheet. So each end client should be doing this for you when they're determining your status. So you can actually see what basis they've worked out why you're inside or you're outside. Okay. So start there. Secondly, I'd also have a look at doing the CEST tool yourself. Hopefully again your end client or the fee payer will have already gone through this. Again, you can then check what your own status will be from using that. Thirdly, I probably then also suggest approaching an accountant and having a look at getting an IR35 review done, both on the contract and your working conditions. Once you've then got all three of those items, you can then go and approach the end client to dispute it. They've then got 45 days to respond to you and see where you go.
So what happens then if they still won't reconsider the determination and they still consider that you and your contractor are inside of IR35? What can you do then?
So you've got a number of options. You could walk away. If you've got the luxury of other contracts, then you could go and see if you can find another one that is outside of IR35. You could continue to work through your limited company if they will allow you to, but you'll then be inside of IR35 and you'll be taxed effectively the same as an employee, so you'll then just receive the net pay. The other option is if they won't allow you to go through your limited company, is you could then go through an umbrella company instead.
Okay, lastly, can you give us a quick overview of the things that we're doing at Aardvark to support our clients with IR35, and particularly in the run-up to April 2021?
Yeah, so we're making sure that we invite all clients to send us their contracts where possible, so that we can go through and do a IR35 review, talk through the contract with them and also their working conditions. If needs be as well, we're offering recommendations in terms of actually getting the contracts amended to reflect their working conditions. We're also making sure that we support them where possible with any appeals processes, making sure we go through the CES tools with them and they understand it fully. But as a just in case, we've also partnered up with SG Umbrella. So as part of the group, we have then got an FCSA accredited umbrella solution there, and clients can move free of charge as part of the monthly service to switch between umbrella and limited whenever they need to flexibly for the future.
So that's the end of our IR35 questions for today. Thanks to Louisa for joining us, and thank you for listening. As an Aardvark client, you will also have access to our IR35 client hub, so you've been sent a link. It has lots of resources on there that answer any additional questions around IR35. But as always, of course, do just give us a call if you need anything else. Thank you.